Hi there, everybody. I am Sapna Mahadevan, your host for this beautiful evening, and I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you to PS TV. Now, today is the 60th episode of Masterclass, and I'm sure that you have all gained a lot of insights from these masterclasses, right? And today, let's continue with this journey of ours and explore another category of story writing. So, let's check out what's in store for the fiction story writing masterclass for today. Unleash the writer in you and spark your imagination. Yes. So, coming up next are a lot of activities like the fun activities, which are icebreaker questions and then Google it words, did you know segments, recommendation of the day, also locate the word in a crossword segment. And then we also have a think like a pro segment where we need to guess different pictures that come up on the screen, right? Now, apart from all these fun activities that we have planned for all of our dear viewers today, we also have the main topic of the day, which is going to be an exploration of a new category of story writing. And as discussed yesterday, the broader genre is going to be mystery. And what is it in mystery that we are going to see for today is something that I will be revealing as we go on further with our episode, right? So, in this particular category of story writing, I will be giving you some essentials or prerequisites that you have to have in writing a story for that category. And then also we will be discussing some plot building pointers. And apart from that, I will also help you and aid you in amping up your story writing game by giving you some expert tips with regards to the category in question, right? So these are all the activities that we have planned up for all you guys here. Yes. So let's get going now to the first segment. And this is going to be a fun icebreaker question. The first one that comes up on the screen here. If you had a chance to make a new animal as the king of the animal kingdom, then who would you choose? Now, that's the question that I have for all of my wonderful viewers here. So we know that the king of the jungle is the lion, the fierce lion, right? But if you want to imagine to have a new animal as the king of the jungle or the animal as the king of the animal kingdom, then which is the animal that you would be choosing? So that's the question that I have, and let me have some interesting answers in the chat box here. Yes. Okay, so I am waiting for your answers, and I also have a lot of emojis here in the chat box. Some waving hands at me, some saying hello. So a big warm hello to each one of you watching me today in this live episode. And the first animal that I get there is a cheetah because it's fast enough. Okay, so the cheetah as the king of the animal kingdom, huh? Lovely. So I just spotted a spelling mistake on that screen there. Yes. So can someone tell me what is the spelling mistake that has happened in this on the screen? The question that you're seeing that has a word that's misspelled. So can you give me that word also in the chat box? Okay. So I have another response here which says tortoise or deer, and this response is from Prasanna. So yes, a tortoise or a deer. Okay, great. So a deer is always cute looking, right? And a tortoise, okay, that's a unique choice for the king of the animal kingdom, isn't it? Yes. Great. Okay, so thanks a lot for that response. And there's another one which says leopard. Okay, so I have leopard, cheetah, and then also tiger, zebra coming up there in the chat box because it looks beautiful. Okay, I totally understand that. The white and the black stripes are really so very unique. Okay, but when I say that, I have another fun fact that I just remember out of my head. It is that just as humans have unique fingerprints, zebras have unique stripes. So not one zebra is going to be likewise to another zebra when it comes to stripes. Yes, so they have unique stripes. That's one of the fun animal facts. Yes. Okay, so the word that is misspelled here is kingdom, and that's the word that I'm getting there in the chat box. So thanks a lot all of you for having that keen attention to detail. Yes. Okay, so let me summarize that. Tortoise, deer, leopard, cheetah, tiger, and I also have zebra. Okay, lovely. So let's move ahead now to the category for the day, the genre that we are going to discuss for today. What's the genre? So it's going to be the broader genre, as we all already disclosed out yesterday, is going to be mystery, right? So what does a mystery story do for the readers? It is usually about a detective and about a culprit and the detective's investigative journey to solve the particular crime that's happened in your plot. Yes, so that's the mystery genre. And let's also check out what is the subgenre for the day. So here it comes. It's children's story. So today we are going to see, in mystery, we are going to see children's story. That is, this subgenre will involve children taking the center stage or being the cynosure of the story plot. And it would be light detective stories, just like we see in a cozy mystery maybe. And these are for children to enjoy. Yes. So kids especially are going to be the target audience for these kind of storybooks. So we need to keep this in mind, that the target audience are children, and there are some teeny weeny twists that we need to do in the plot so that we make it in sync with our target audience, right? So that was the subgenre for the day. And let me go back to the slide. I missed that one here. Here it is. Yes. So it's going to be children's mystery that we are going to look out for today. And let's also go into the next icebreaker question that I have for the day. And it is, what do you like to daydream about? So that's the next question I have for all of my viewers. Anything that you fascinate about or you daydream about, do let me know your comments in the chat box here. And it would be fun to know what is it that you are daydreaming about. Yes. Okay. Daydreaming about becoming successful. Okay. That's a good one. So yes, positive mindsets, right? So whatever you believe to be happening is the one that's actually going to, whatever you manifest is going to happen, right? So yes, that's a beautiful thought there. And it also says daydreaming about business. Okay, lovely. So daydreaming about successful business opportunity maybe, right? Okay, and what else? So I just simply daydream. These are all like big things that you're giving me in the chat box, but I think I go day by day. And so I generally daydream about generally the day going good. Okay, so Prasanna here has another daydream that he's talking about, and that's like very profound, Prasanna. So it's going to Himalayas and meeting Lord Shiva. Okay, so that's what Prasanna daydreams about. Great. Though he is in every other element. So that's truly the essence of all of this. Yes, Prasanna, you have got it right. Okay, so that's another very deep subject to daydream about. I generally daydream about a good day, maybe some good food that I would get for the day. Yes, and that is it. I am like totally satisfied. Yes, okay. So big things coming up here in the chat box about daydreaming, meeting Lord Shiva in the Himalayas, and then some business opportunity, being successful at life. Okay, so all the best to all of you for all of your endeavors here. And let me now quickly get going to the next segment that we have here, and this is establishing excuse me, it is establishing the essentials, right? So the genre that we are seeing today is children's mystery, and as always we have three definite elements that we are going to speak about in writing a children's mystery story. Yes, so the next screen here brings you all the essentials that are really a prerequisite to writing a children's mystery. So there's going to be the detective hero, so that's a given, right? Whenever there's a mystery genre that we are talking about, there has to be a detective, and he or she, they are always portrayed as heroes in their own light. Yes, so a detective hero is the need of the day, and then we have light crime, also we have a fun investigation. So these are the prerequisites for writing a children's mystery, and let's now delve deeper into each of these subjects and check out in detail what is it that we can be incorporating in our plot, right? So the first thing that we have here is the detective hero. So like in a children's mystery, as I told you, the target audience are children. or young kids, yes. So kids, what do they want? They always want to read characters which are their own age or maybe a few years older, and the this we should always keep this in mind. And our protagonist for the children's mystery story, he or she should be a hero who saves the day, right? I'm so sorry. So yes, so the protagonist is going to be a young detective, and they should be someone who have all the qualities and all the abilities to really save the day, right? So make this whole plot appealing to the children by keeping some characters who are of young age, and try to keep the plot engaging. Yes, a hero who saves the day at the end, that's the main pointer there that we need to keep in mind, right? So that's the first essential that we need to establish in our story, the detective hero, right? Now let's move forward and check out the second essential that we have here, which is the light crime. So in a children's mystery story, we need to always make sure that the target audience, since it is young kids, the crime that we portray in the story should not be something which is very something which displays a lot of gore, right? So you need to always portray the crime as keep it really light, and also maybe just like in cozy mysteries, the crime, even if it is a murder, it happens off stage, and there's only the detective bit of it which is showed in full focus throughout the story plot, right? So that's what we need to achieve while writing a children's mystery. First of all, the crime that you portray, it has to be light. So it could be an assault, it could be a simple robbery, maybe, yes. And even if it is murder that you're going to showcase, just make sure that you do not show the gore scenes, do not talk about it in vivid detail, and that the murder happens off stage, and only the investigative part of it is brought to light throughout the story plot, right? So that was the second essential here, the light crime, yes. Okay, then we move ahead now to the third established essential, and this third essential here is the fun investigation. So there are young detectives who are going to try to solve and unravel the mystery, yes. So keep the investigation also light, just like the story plot or the crime. The investigation also has to be light, and there can be some moments of fun that you can add into your investigative journey to make it exciting and appealing to your audience, right? So also another point that you can keep in mind is that whatever are the clues that you're planting across the story plot while you're showcasing the investigative journey, you can keep this in mind, that all the clues are things which the readers, that is the children, can understand easily, right? So if you're talking about maybe the altering the brakes of a vehicle, then keep it in mind that children of that young age will not really understand how the brakes can be altered in a bike or in a car, right? So maybe you can change that whole plot to the brakes being altered in a bicycle, because that is one thing that maybe children can be aware of, right? So keep this in mind, that your whole plot needs to be in sync with the target audience, and there has to be some fun investigation and some really exciting details that you give into your investigative journey to make it appealing to your target audience, right? So that was the third essential that we have here, the fun investigation. So with that, we have seen all the three essentials in writing a short children's mystery. So the first one was detective hero, whom you can always showcase as being a young kid. Okay, and then the second essential there was the light crime. So just like in cozy mysteries, keep the crime light and do not showcase a lot of gore. And then the third essential that we saw was the fun investigation and the how the investigative journey of the detective should be, right? Now, after these three essentials, let's now move ahead to the next segment. Okay, so I have another Google, icebreaker question for all of my dear viewers. Yes, and the icebreaker question that comes up next on the screen is, how do you think animals communicate? That's the question there. So you can try and stir up your imagination and think about this question through and give me your answers in the chat box. How do you think that animals generally communicate, right? Okay. So I have some emojis here in the chat box. All lovely emojis here, some smileys. Yes, and some thumbs ups. So thanks a lot for all of these emojis. And the first answer that I have here, it says they communicate through sounds. Okay. So yes, a dog howls and a dog barks, a wolf howls, right? So all of these signals that they give to each other, that's one sign language that animals have, right? So they communicate by sounds, yes. Okay, so another comment there which says, yes, so animals have feelings, right? Of course. So animals have feelings and they communicate with their feelings, okay? That's an interesting one there. So I always believe that, God has not given them a voice just like humans, but then they have all the means to communicate. Yes, all the non-verbal communication that we can see in animals, it's really amazing, isn't it? Yes. So some of the comments here is about feelings and, communicating through sounds. Those are repetitive answers there. And yes, thanks a lot again. Indu Kalpa, thanks for that emoji there. And lovely. So we know how animals communicate, right? Great. Let's now quickly move over to the next segment. And now we have the first Google it word for today, which is petty, right? So what's the meaning of petty? Okay, so let me reveal that out to you. Petty means something which is trivial or something which is not very important, right? So that's the meaning of petty. And we also spoke about how our crime should be. So in a children's mystery, the crime could be petty, right? So it doesn't mean that it need not be an important element of the story. It only means to say that it could be some trivial, crime that has happened, which the children are trying to unravel, right? So that's the meaning of petty, which is something which is really trivial, right? Okay, with that, we have the first word in the Google It segment. Do check that word in Google and jot that down in your fancy Google It journal, right? Lovely. Now let's move ahead to the next segment. And this is going to talk about all the expert tips that we have for our dear viewers on how you can be establishing the essentials in a better way, right? So the first expert tip that we have here is the details of the crime that you can include in your story plot. Yes, so we saw that the crime has to be light, so you can always include a robbery or maybe some kind of a theft that has happened, and also kidnapping in the story to make it light, right? Murder is something that will be a little too high for a children's mystery, but still we have seen certain popular children's mystery storybooks where murder has been one of the themes of the crime that has happened, right? So if it is murder, then see to it that it is not something which happens center stage, and do not talk, you do not give a little do not give a vivid description of what has happened behind the murder, right? So the first established expert tip was the crimes that you could be speaking of in your story plot. It could be a trivial robbery, some theft, or even a kidnapping, or even assault that has happened, right? So now moving on to the second expert tip that we have here, and it says include hero-like action scenes. So I'm sure kids of young age, they really love the action scenes and the action sequences that come up. Yes, so in a short story as well, you can try and depict an action scene that's happening among the hero and the villain, right? And always show that the hero is always of prime importance in your story plot, and he or she always comes back victorious after defeating the villain, no matter how many people are targeting the hero at one particular time, right? So that is the second expert tip. We need a hero for our children's mystery whom are target audience is really going to love and connect with. Yes, so for that to happen, you need to always showcase the hero as coming back victorious from all of the fighting scenes that happen, right? So that was the second expert tip. And now moving ahead to the third expert tip that we have for today, that is the setting of the story. Yes, so whenever we see some children's stories, the stories that are written for children, yes, so then we always see that the setting that is spoken about in that particular story is always peppy and fun loving and even colorful and vibrant, right? So we need to garner interest in our target audience, and that we can be doing by keeping a lot of colorful and vibrant scenes. So your story plot should be full of peppy vibes, and it should not be the usual dark themed detective story. Yes, so that's the third expert tip that we had. You can always include some light moments in your story plot by adding some kind of humor or maybe friendly banter between the protagonist and their friends or the other side characters that you have showcased in the story. Yes, so by all these means you can try to keep the setting of the story vibrant and peppy, right? So that was the third expert tip. And now let's move on to the next Google it word that I have for today. And the second Google it word is peppy. So what do we understand by the word peppy, right? It's actually an informal word in English, but it only means to say someone who is energetic, right? So the setting of the story needs to be vibrant and energetic. Yes, so that is the meaning for the word peppy. And do check the word in Google, come up with the other interpretations for the word, and file that word in your repository of words. Yes, so that was the second Google it word, peppy. The first one that we had for today was petty, and the second one is peppy. Yes, now let's move ahead to the next segment. So we have another icebreaker question there, and it says, if you will get a chance, would you rename the colors of your crayons? Yes, so that's the question that we have for all our dear viewers. Do let me know in yes or in no whether you would want to change or rename the colors of your crayons, right? So these days, I'm seeing it is unlike the crayons that we had in our times. We just had 12 colors and that's about it. But these days, there are a range of colors, 50 to 60 shades that we see in crayons, right? So if we have the color maroon, then we have at least 5 to 8 different variations or different hues in the color maroon. Yes. So I think that's really amazing. It's become really fun these days to draw and color with all of the range of colors that we get. Yes. So, but if you want to rename the colors of your crayon, then would you want to do that, or you just would like to keep it as it is? That's the question that we have here. And the comments that I am getting here is no, do not want to rename, and yes, even coming up there. Okay, and then again, nope. Okay, so I love the colors as it is. Great. Thanks for that response there, Daniel. Yes, so most of them answering in no. Okay, so I think all of us are happy with the various colors and the names that we have in our crayons, right? Great going there. Okay, thanks a lot for those responses. And let's now move ahead to another fun segment that we have. This is the movie title trivia. In the movie title trivia, we have a fun segment where you need to guess these children's mystery movie titles. Yes, so I will be having some pictures that I will be showcasing on the screen, and you can really try and guess the name of the movie from these pictures, right? So let me showcase the first picture that I have here, and there it is, one popular fictional character there, right? So I think you will be really able to guess the name of the movie. And let me give you some time to type out your answers. Okay, so Prasanna also giving me another comment on the previous icebreaker question, and he says that he will love to rename the colors. Black as dark, red as deep and powerful, and so on. Okay, so instead of giving names to the colors, that's an interesting thought there, Prasanna. So what Prasanna wants to say here is, instead of renaming the colors to another name of a color, he wants to give certain adjectives or describing words to the colors. Yes, so that's lovely. That's an interesting thought. And okay, and I am also getting responses to the movie title trivia here, and those are all correct responses. So let me bring about the answer here. And thanks a lot for all of these answers. It's Detective Pikachu, right? Lovely. So let's move on to the second one, and here it goes, which is this movie that we are talking about. Can you guess the movie title? Another interesting movie there. And I'm getting some think emojis here in the chat box. Okay, so let me give you this answer here. I can't really see any comments coming up. Okay, so let me reveal out the answer for this picture here. It is Get a Clue. Yes, Lindsay Lohan in Get a Clue. Right, that was the movie title that we had for the second picture. And now let's move ahead with the third picture that I'm going to show you. And this is going to be the last picture in this series. So brace yourselves for this one. And here it comes. It's another popular fictional character in the detective and mystery genre. So sorry for that. Here it is again. And can you guess this movie title? And I have actually grown up reading all the books of this particular fictional detective. Yes, and those are correct responses in the chat box. The series for Nancy Drew, right? That's the movie, Nancy Drew, and a lovely detective character, a fictional one. And we have all really loved reading books of Nancy Drew and all her investigative journeys. Yes, great. So that was the third movie that we had. And let's now move ahead to the next segment that we have for today, which is plotting the plot, right? So again, I'm going to give you 3 definite elements which will help you in writing an engaging children's mystery. And in plotting the plot, the 3 elements are: the first one, the exciting journey, and then the second one is the sprightly detective, and also the last one, which is the ending, right? So let's look into this one by one. And the first one is the exciting journey. So here we have a story which talks about some children, or maybe one protagonist who is a young child who is trying to unravel the mystery that's in front of him, right? So while we are talking about the journey of the detective, we can bring up some exciting plots into our story by talking about some startling twists and some cliffhangers that we can portray in our children's mystery story, right? So this will also help, the readers, while they are reading the story, they will also try to be involved in the process, and that will make it even more engaging, right? So the journey should be full of surprises for our young readers. And as I have always told you, whenever we have come up with a mystery genre, I have spoken about what are cliffhangers. So let me reiterate that once again. Cliffhangers are some interesting device that are used in the plot, by which it gives a lot of speculation into our story plot, right? So a lot of twists and some clues that you plant into your story so that you mislead your audience. That's what is cliffhangers. Yes. And also sometimes when you leave an abrupt ending, and you want the audience or your readers to have a compelling read and to come back to the next page, to turn the page, being desperate enough to turn the page and find out what is happening next. When you give such kind of a situation in your story plot, then that's also termed as cliffhangers, right? So think of all the twists and the cliffhangers that you would want to keep into your story plot, and that's going to really surprise your readers. Yes, and take it from me that all your young readers are really becoming adept at solving all the clues. So keep that in mind and write a few investigative scenes or plot building pointers which require careful scrutiny into the storyline, right? So that's one another point that you can keep in mind, that your readers are really adept at solving the clues. So you need to give them so much more in your story plot, and that you can be doing that by adding some startling twists and some cliffhangers and a lot of surprises into your story plot. Yes, so that was the exciting journey that we want to have in the plotting the plot. And the second pointer that we have here is the sprightly detective. Yes, so our detective should be one who is full of energy and bravery, and someone who is never scared and always comes back victorious from all the challenges and from all the obstacles that he or she faces. Yes, so you can also try and give a little backstory to your detective and try and build a whole story revolving around your detective's life. Yes, and give him or her an amazing personality. Now that's the second plot building pointer that we had, the sprightly detective. And then as a third definite element, we have the ending, right? So the ending in a children's mystery story should always be happy, because it's a genre that's for young children, and we always want them to be happy at the ending after reading the climax of the story, right? So you can showcase a perfect life afterwards, and the criminal being appropriately punished for whatever the offense that they had committed in your story, right? So that is one pointer that you could be including in the ending, a happy ending and the criminal being appropriately punished, right? And also, where we have seen in popular mysteries that you can also round up all the clues and the cliffhangers that you planted all across your story plot just at the ending, so that you give them a fresh perspective, and your readers, your young readers, have a gist of all the clues that you have planted across the story plot just before the big reveal. Yes, so this will remind your readers of the clues and give them a better chance of coming up with the solution or who was the culprit, right? So that is another thing that you can think of adding into your ending of the story plot, right? So with these 3 pointers here, I have a question here from Prasanna, and it says, can it be fantasy too? Now, we have always seen, Prasanna, in story writing these days that most of the genres, they have a very thin boundary line, and it's not always black and white. So you can always mix some of the genres together, but the focus has to be on mystery, right? The broader genre that we are going to see in these kind of stories is mystery. So the focus has to be on mystery, but you can always add a little bit of fantasy, not too much. It doesn't need to be over the top, right? So there's always a thin line between all the genres that we speak in story writing. Yes, so that's one pointer there. And also, as I was talking about all the 3 definite elements in plotting the plot, we had a sprightly detective, we also saw how the ending should be, and we also saw how the journey should be while we portray it in a children's mystery, right? So these were the plot building pointers. And now let's move ahead to another Google it word that we have, which is sprightly. So again, sprightly means someone who is energetic. Yes, so our detective here in a children's mystery story should be sprightly, right? Full of energy and full of positive vibes, right? So that is the third Google it word. The first one was petty, and then we had peppy, and then also sprightly, right? So let's now move over to another fun segment, and this is really interesting. I'm going to give you some pictures on the next screen, and you need to guess these cartoon characters. So I'm sure my dear viewers here, my little audience members, are really going to come up with all the answers correctly for these cartoon characters. Yes, so are you all ready, and are you all charged up for the first picture that comes on the screen? So give me maybe a show of hands in the chat box, some emojis, and I will understand that I am ready to go. Okay, lovely. So I have smileys come up there in the chat box. And the first picture that I have here, one popular character and someone whom children really love. Yes. Okay. So There we go. We have correct responses for this popular children character, cartoon character, and it is Doraemon, none other than Doraemon, right? Lovely. So let's move on to the next one. Someone who really makes us laugh, and we are always in splits when we see him perform. Yes. So who is this popular cartoon character? It's an animation, and yes, there we go. Lovely. So there we are, the popular character, Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. Okay, so let's move on now to the third character that we have here. This is again another popular cartoon character. And can you guess which is this character here? I have totally loved watching stories around this cartoon character. And am I going to get some comments here? There are smileys, there are thumbs ups, which is this cartoon character. It is quite popular. Okay, so I am getting responses to the previous question there. Mr. Bean coming up here in the chat box. So let me give you maybe 5-10 seconds more. Okay, and I get a response there. That's correct. It is Bugs Bunny. Yes. Okay, so now the next cartoon character coming up. Here we are. My personal favorite, anytime read. Yes. Or anytime watch. Yes. So I remember when I was a young child, me and my sister, we used to go to a library in the vicinity. Yes, and it was so much fun. An afternoon spent in the library, and we were well disciplined, right? Disciplined kids sitting in the library for an hour or two and quietly, drifting up away into that world of stories. Yes, so Noddy was one book that I always had to read while I went to that library. It was a hardbound book, yes, and with all the lovely colorful illustrations. So that's something that I have as a vivid memory of my childhood days. Yes, so I already gave you the answer, and I have comments come up in the chat box as well, and that's the popular character of Noddy. Lovely. So I'm having so much fun giving you all these cartoon characters here and reliving my childhood days, right? So let's move on to the next picture that we have. Okay, so that's the famous popular cartoon character we all love watching, right? And I know I'm going to get some responses here. Kudos to all of you. That's again the correct answer, and it is none other than Tom. Yes. Okay, so now we have the last one, and I'm sure I'm going to get answers for this one because he is one favorite in our chat box. And yes, this character is Shin-chan. Lovely. So claps and kudos to all of you for giving me correct answers in the chat box for all of these popular cartoon characters. Lovely. Okay. So that was one fun segment that we had for our young audience members here. And let's now quickly move over to the expert tips in plotting the plot, right? So the first expert tip that we have here, keep the story short and crisp, and always remember that you're writing for a young audience. So something which is aimed at a young audience. So keep the sentences and even the storyline short and crisp, right? And also easily understandable for your target audience, right? Lovely. Now that was the first expert tip, and now we have the second expert tip, which is about the main character, or which is about our young detective, right? So give a lot of depth to the young detective's character and talk about his personality, his livelihood, and how he is, the whole description of how he looks. Yes, these are some of the elements that you can be talking about your young detective, and give a visualization to your readers about how your young detective looks, right? So this is also a backstory that you could be giving to your young detective, and that will really help in making a connect with your audience, right? So that was the second expert tip about the main character. And then the third expert tip that we have here is make the criminal do the things that arouses humor in the story. For example, you can make the criminal fall or slip while running away from the detective, and you can also have some friendly banter there included in the story plot between all of the side characters. So some kind of a humor element in your story, because this is aimed at children of young age, right? So that's the third expert tip that we have. And with that, now let's move over to the next Google It word that we have for today. And this is aimed. So what is the meaning of aim? It only means to target, okay, or to point at, right? So that's the meaning for the word aim. Now do check that word in Google, come up with your responses, and jot that word down in your Google It journal. Yes, by now with this 60th episode today, you would have had more than hundreds of words in your repository, and that's going to do a world of good. Keep revising all those Google It words, and try and use it wherever appropriate in your sentences and in your language, right? So yes, that was the last Google It word that we had for today. So let me tell you all the Google It words. One was petty, which was trivial. Then we had peppy, which means energetic, full of life. And also we had sprightly, which again means someone who is energetic and vibrant. Okay, and then the fourth word we had was aimed, which means to point at or to target, right? That was those were the four Google It words. And now we have another segment, which is the recommendation of the day. And it's a movie that we are recommending for all of our dear viewers for today. And it is On Your Case, Harriet the Spy. Yes, so that's the movie that we are recommending, and do have fun watching this particular recommendation of the day movie, right? Lovely. Now, the next segment again is also something which you all eagerly wait for, and it is locate the word, right? So in this segment, I'm going to show you a letter maze on the screens in a little while from now, and you need to find out all the hidden words. These hidden words are going to be from the lesson that we learned for today, and I'm going to give you only 1 minute, so you need to be quick. And let me also tell you that these words can be written diagonally or even horizontally or vertically, right? So the clock has already started ticking, and give me your responses quickly in the chat box. And I can already see some of those words in the maze. So I know it's going to be very easy for even all of you who are watching me right now. So just have a keen attention to detail and check out all the 4 words that are hidden in the maze. So let's see who's the first one who's going to answer the words here. Okay, so there we go. We have words come up in the chat box already. And yes, one of them is journey, the one that's written just across on the first row. Okay, then we also have child. Lovely. Thanks for all of these responses. Great going there. Yes, so again, journey coming up there in the chat box. Lovely. We have journey again come up there. Child also in the chat box. And what else? What are the other words? There are 2 more words that we need to find out. Okay, so let me bring about the answers here one by one, and by that time you can maybe even guess the other 2 words as well. Yes, so the first word that we have is journey. Then we have the next word, which is child, and just now I had the other answer there, which is young. And also Prasanna giving me up, which is not the correct answer. And the 4th answer is peppy. Yes, so peppy being full of life or energetic. So these were the 4 words that we had: journey, child, young, and peppy. Yes, so thanks a lot again for being a participative audience here. Yes, so now we are coming to the end of our episode, and I'm going to quickly reiterate all the points that we learned for today's episode. So the segment is at a glance, and I'm going to quickly round up all the learnings for today, right? So that in writing a short children's mystery, the first thing is the essentials that we are going to see. So we need a detective hero, we need some light crime that has happened, and also a fun investigation journey, right? Now, apart from this, okay, so I am again getting some answers there in the chat box. Uh, yes, it is not Pep, it is Peppy, right? And we also have Young come up there. Yes, that's correct. It is Peppy. Yes, thanks a lot again, Prasanna, for all of these answers there. And in the at a glance segment, we are seeing the essentials. So we need a detective hero, a light crime, and fun investigation, right? And also for building up the story plot, we need an exciting journey. So we are going to give a lot of twists and cliffhangers in our story plot. And we need a sprightly detective. So someone who is young at heart, someone who is really energetic and full of life, right? And also, while we are talking about the ending, we can give a quick roundup of all the clues that we had planted in the story plot so that our young readers can refresh their memory, right? And we can also talk about how we want a happy ending for our short story, right? So that was at a glance. And now we have, as always, a fun project work. So do try to write a short story on this genre of children's mystery. And it's only about taking the first step, put pen to paper and try to write a short story. Yes, a first draft on a children's mystery story. Yes. I hope you had fun with this session of story writing masterclass for today. Yes. And tomorrow I'll be back again with another exciting episode at 6 p.m. India time. So do stay tuned in with me. Join me in tomorrow's episode as well, where we explore another genre of horror, right? So there's going to be a different subcategory for tomorrow in the horror category, right? And I hope to have as much fun as we had today in the tomorrow's live as well, right? So until I meet up next tomorrow, take good care of yourselves. I'm Sapna signing out for today. Bye bye.